Welcome back to Temporal Directive, the Star Trek fan podcast, rewatching the entire franchise in chronological order. I'm Gary.
And I'm Tom.
And this week, we're watching Star Trek Enterprise's Marauders. Star Trek, the ultimate franchise. These are the podcasts of the Wakefield brothers. Their 16-year mission to watch every production, to seek out life lessons and new inspirations, to boldly watch like most fans have watched before. So how you been? How's your week been?
Pretty good, actually. Not bad. Nothing overly exciting this week, though. Just the usual life stuff, work, and that's about it, really. But not great.
You're so interesting.
I know, right? It's just, life's great, isn't it?
No, I'm the same.
Yeah.
It's been a real quiet week. We just work and not much else.
No, that's it. I don't think there's anything really exciting.
I did drive, what is it, almost 2 hours to get to Launceston?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did drive maybe about 4 hours a return trip to pick up Wicked on 4K disc.
Of course you did.
I'm maybe mildly obsessed. I have seen it 5 times at the cinema. I bought it on Amazon streaming. I pre-ordered it, actually, so that I could have it immediately. And I've been watching it on Amazon, and then I was like, I think the 4K disc is probably going to have a better picture quality. So I drove.
So you spent half a day.
Yes.
Half
To
your
buy a
waking
movie
day.
I've already bought online. Yes.
To go and buy one you already had,
Yes.
essentially.
Correct.
Was it a better quality?
It was, actually. We watched it again last night, even though I just watched it last weekend at the cinema. And yes, it was a much better picture quality than what you get on streaming.
Are you noticing heaps of different things every time you watch it?
Yes.
So there's lots of different little hidden stuffs.
Yes.
Thing I might like. I've only watched it the once, obviously, but I need to go back and watch it again, and probably again. But I'm not going to go and spend approximately, I don't know, $250 that you've spent on watching it 5 times. 5,000 times.
Bad time to tell you I bought like the pop finals of the characters. And
I'm sorry to say that we don't have a Wicked range at work.
I was very, very close to buying like a replica of the pop-up book that they have with the wizard.
I would not judge you for that because I would almost buy that myself.
Well, it was in JB Hi-Fi yesterday.
Really?
It was $65.
Is that it?
Yeah.
See, I would buy that.
Well, it's a kid's pop-up book about the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. But I would buy that. That's if it's the one in the movie.
It's a replica of the one in the movie, yeah.
I would buy that. In fact, I may even buy that by the end of the day.
Okay.
Because I like.
Here you are judging me for spending money on watching the movie.
Well, you see, I haven't spent so much money on watching the movie, and I can spend the money on the little replica that I like out of the movie instead of watching it that many times.
Dear.
I like my replicas, you know that.
Anyway, let's talk about this week's Star Trek episode, shall we?
Alrighty.
So this week we are watching Enterprise episode Marauders, story by Rick Berman and Braden Braga, teleplay by David Wilcox, directed by Mike Vahar. The original air date for this episode was October 30th, 2002, so right before Halloween. And the IMDb synopsis reads, Enterprise visits a colony with a deuterium trading post, but the people seem to be pretty unwilling to trade. Are they hiding something? That's it.
That's
the whole
one little sentence.
synopsis.
Oh, well, maybe they just don't want to fucking trade. Maybe that's not a trading post. It's like, nah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Really makes me want to watch it.
Yeah. It doesn't give anything away. I have no idea what this episode's about.
Nah.
Actually, I do. I kind of remember this one.
Oh. Fair enough.
But you don't have any idea what this one's about.
Nah, not a clue.
All right, well, let's go watch it.
Righto.
And we're back from watching Marauders. Well, Tom, first thoughts. What did you think?
It was okay. Well, not fantastic. Not as good as the previous episodes we've been watching. But it wasn't, like, terrible. It wasn't Archer, in the vacuum of space, being able to breathe and,
Yeah.
So,
I am just going to say that I really like the Klingons.
yeah.
I think the Klingons look cool.
Yeah. They were good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it was a good sort of Star Trek story in the sense. Like, it felt like they were trying to do a very Star Trek thing,
Yep.
Look after the little guy and help people in need, and felt very like that. It felt a little anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Like, it was a lot of build up
Agree.
to get this place moved over, and then the payoff was very little. Yeah.
Yeah, a ring of fire around them,
Yeah.
and that would be enough.
Well, yeah.
I would have thought the Klingons would just walk through that and then kill everyone.
Exactly, that's right. I was like, what the fuck's this shit? Like,
What? These aren't the Klingons I'm familiar with.
no, like they walk through fire as a ritual, like,
Yeah.
and pain sticks and shit.
And jumping
like,
through a not a very big wall of fire
yeah,
is going to be nothing compared to those pain sticks that
exactly.
they use for fun.
It was really like, okay.
Yeah.
And the guy's speech too, like, don't come back because we're not scared of you anymore. And that's all he said. And then it was over.
Yeah.
It was like, it wasn't even a compelling speech. It's like, you spent all this time on moving the town over, and that was a lot of time. And then nothing.
3 days.
Yeah. Like, I was like, this is very little payoff. I felt very like,
Yep.
yeah.
I agree. I agree, but there was a lot of good in this episode too.
There was.
The Klingon designs are cool.
Yeah.
The fact that they even had that set outside
Yeah, it was really cool.
was cool.
That was
It
a
looked really great.
Really good setup.
Yeah, so there was a lot of really good production stuff in this episode.
Absolutely.
But
And the premise itself was really good. I really liked the actual storyline was really good. It was just a little bit of lack of payoff. That was all.
it was just the climax was disappointing.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the episode then, shall we?
All right.
We open on the cool outdoor set we were just talking about, which we don't see very often. Usually it's in the studio. Planet Hell, is that what they called it?
Yeah.
But yeah, this looks like a proper outdoor setup. It looks really
full
cool.
set,
Yeah.
which was really good instead of green screen and, very obvious green screen backgrounds and shit. This was really good.
Yep. And we have the two main alien dudes. I don't know if they ever said their names. They probably did. But let's just call it the boss and the nice guy.
B1 and B2.
Yeah. But they see something coming from the sky and they're like, is it them? No, it's not their ship. It's somebody else. And then we see that it's an Enterprise shuttle pod. It goes to land and then we can skip the credits.
Yeah. Thank fuck.
Thank the Lord Almighty Christ
Yes.
for inventing the skip credits button. Praise
the Lord. Praise the Lord. For the skip button on the remote.
We see Archer, T'Pol and Troop climbing out of the shuttle. They're in their fancy desert outfits.
Yeah, instead of the jumpsuits.
Yes, they're in the Ken Goes to the Desert outfit.
I've got to match with my environment.
And they're met by the two guys who are watching the ship land. Archer introduces himself, and there's a bit of interaction with setting up that Archer is looking for deuterium and that they scanned them, that this is clearly a deuterium mining facility.
They're not.
We want some of your stuff.
Yeah, give me deuterium. They're like, we don't have any. Yeah, we do.
Yeah. They've got heaps. They say that they don't have any for them, though. No, none for you. No soup for you.
Yeah, no soup for you. No soup.
They say that they're holding on to the 80,000 litres they have for someone else.
Yeah.
And to come back at the end of the season, and maybe we can accommodate you then. But a couple of the pumps aren't working, and the nice guy asks if they've got any experience fixing pumps. Trip says not specifically, but I can have a look.
Yeah,
Basically,
got
I'll
some
MacGyver
tools.
something.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll grab my toolbox.
Let me
I'll
get my
grab a rubber
MacGyver
band.
kit.
I'll get my rubber band and
Paper clips and
clip and
bubble gum.
I'll be with you.
Archer says it seems there might be an opportunity for us to help each other.
Yeah.
And the leader guy says, follow me.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fair deal, right? You come and give us a hand.
Seems reasonable to me.
Fix up a couple of pumps. That means we'll have the chance to get you 200 litres, you know. And
Yep.
really, it's only 200 litres. I mean, they got 80,000 in the vats or whatever you want to call them. Like, it's 200.
Trip goes back to the shuttle and he hears someone inside and he sticks his head in and he sees it's a little kid sitting in the chair pressing buttons. And so he hits a button to set off a fake little alarm sound, which startles the kid. And they have a bit of a chat about how the kid likes to look at the ships that come here. And he asks a few questions about the shuttle, like how fast does it go? Trip says she's designed for 1/4 impulse. Is that an answer?
No.
How fast is that?
Who the fuck knows?
I don't know.
Not off the top of my head.
Is impulse a standard speed? Is that
It must be somehow.
for all species?
Yeah, but it's like talking to an American and we say, you know, it goes 50 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
They wouldn't know what the fuck that means,
No,
you know?
that's right.
Just like I don't know off the top of my head what 50 miles an hour is in kilometers. Like, what?
It's about 80.
Thanks.
You're welcome. The kid says he wants to learn how to fly the shuttle, and Trip says, well, no.
Get off my ship.
But I'm heading back up to the Enterprise later, so if you folks are okay with that, I'll take you up there and we can go on a tour. And the kid gets very excited. We cut to the settlement, and in a tent, the two alien dudes are with Archer and T'Pol, and they're negotiating. But they agree to 200 litres
Yep.
in exchange for 4 power cells and medical supplies if they can also repair the pumps.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
That's a lot of work.
It is.
It's a lot of
work.
stuff.
Because he's like, if you get them working within 2 days, was it?
Yeah, you have 2 days. You have to leave with or without your stuff in 2 days.
Yeah, but you're going to leave those power cells and your medical supplies behind with or without the deuterium in 2 days.
Apparently.
Like, fuck off.
Yep.
So you're going to work your ass off for 2 days, leave your shit behind, and if it's not done, too bad, you don't get anything.
Yep.
It's
Pretty
the
much.
worst possible fucking deal.
Yes, and Archer says,
it.
agreed.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Yep.
He's a fucking idiot.
We cut to sickbay, and the alien woman from the settlement is raiding supplies, basically.
Yeah.
But she's staring at a starfish, and Flock says that you can take it if you like.
Yeah. Yeah. Good at healing wounds.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't take much to feed. Like, it feeds off the blood while it's healing, and, you know, otherwise it just takes a little broth every
Yep.
few days otherwise. She's
She
like,
says, nah.
I'm good.
No.
No.
And then he gives her what looks like a gun, but she says an auto suture.
Didn't we see him use that the other day?
I think so.
Yeah. I think we
maybe.
did in one of the other episodes we just watched recently.
Probably after the surgery on Porthos.
Oh, yeah. Actually, it was. It was on Porthos's head.
But she doesn't want to take it because it's expensive. He convinces her to take it. He can tell that there's something wrong, so he asks, is everything okay? And she says, yeah, no, yep, yeah, sure, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm just going to go back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely fine.
Sus.
Nothing to see here.
Exactly. She's real sus. But anyway, she doesn't say anything. She just says thank you and fucks off.
Yeah.
Then we cut back to the settlement. Archer and T'Pol are walking through in the bright sunlight that they're probably not used to.
Yeah. Instantly tanning.
And Archer is asking some questions about asking T'Pol if she's been to other deuterium trade depots and stuff. And he's just confused because he would have thought that deuterium being a valuable commodity, that these people would be better off than what they seem to be.
Yeah.
Their living conditions are pretty shit. And
the facilities should be much better.
yeah, everything sort of looks like it's about to fall apart. And she has a bit of a go at him, like she always does.
Yeah.
We're here to trade and stop being a judgy little asshole.
Yeah, that's right. Stop judging people by your standards, Captain.
Which is what he does.
Every fucking time.
Yep. We cut to the bridge. Travis, Reed and Hoshi are on the bridge. And Travis notices the ship coming in out of warp, heading for the planet. Hoshi says it's probably just more deuterium customers. And Travis says, I'm reading 12 biosigns. All Klingon.
Boom, boom, boom. And
we fade to commercial on that dramatic reveal.
Yeah. No. It really got me.
I was shitting myself. Not the fucking Klingons! We're back from commercial at the settlement. Trip is helping the nice guy do some repairs.
So he gets a little message on his device to say Korok has arrived, and he's like, I thought we had 3 days. And then he gets Trip to help him close off the bloody pump or whatever. So he does that, and he goes, who's Korok? And then he says a little bit about it or whatever, and then all those shit hits the fan. That's kind of what happens, right?
Pretty much. Yep. We cut to inside a tent, and they're talking about the approaching Klingons, and T'Pol says they must realize that you trade with other ships. And the boss guy says they believe that we have an exclusive arrangement.
They don't like to see other people.
No, they get angry. And you wouldn't like a Klingon when he's angry. Archer calls up to Enterprise to see if the Klingons have detected the ship, and Reed says, no, can't tell, no indication that they have. So Archer asks Travis to adjust the orbit and keep the Enterprise out of sight.
Yeah.
So that they're, yeah.
And to summon the shuttle, right? And to summon the shuttle.
Well,
that was,
I guess.
That was just implied, right?
There's no discussion there, but later there's no shuttle on the planet, so who knows?
Yeah, so it just magically happened.
But they can't just take it now because the Klingon ship's already in orbit.
That's right.
So did they just... Like, who took it back up?
Exactly. Where did it go? How did it get back to the
shuttle go?
It makes no sense to me. None.
Nope.
Anyway...
That's weird. Mm-hmm. So we cut back to the settlement. The Klingons beam down. There's about 6 of them, I think.
Yep.
The 2 alien dudes walk over there. Korok, the Klingon leader, says, "Oh, my old friend."
Yeah.
The boss guy says, "We weren't expecting you so soon. We've had some trouble with the pumps." Korok says, "My crew's hungry. Let's have food and drink, and then we can discuss business." And then they start to walk off, heading to a tent like fucking fetus.
Yeah.
And then the boss guy yells out from behind them, "Your deuterium! We don't have all of it! We did our best, but we need more time!"
A very dramatic reading by Gary Wakefield.
I thank you. While this exchange is going on, we get a quick glimpse of Archer, Trip and T'Pol watching and listening in.
Yeah.
They can't make out what they're saying, but T'Pol can. So she's kind of explaining it as they go along. We cut back to outside, and the boss guy is explaining that they couldn't operate at full capacity with the pumps down, and says that they can only give them 80,000 litres.
That's not right. All the pumps are working.
Well, we only just fixed them. He says, "You're lying," and he punches the boss guy.
Yeah. Which Trip doesn't like.
Inside, Trip's about to run out and help. Archer stops him. The nice alien guy says, "Leave him alone. If you want to get to us, you're going to have to go through me."
Snot coming out of his nose, blanket over his head.
alone.
You don't understand it.
You get your deuterium.
Anyone under the age of like 20 is going to be, or 25 is going to be like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. Korok says that we can get deuterium anywhere. I come here because I like you. When you show me hospitality and respect. And the nice guy goes, you take everything we own and you want us to respect you? He says, I'll give you 4 days. Have it all ready by then. They beam away and everyone runs out to help the people that have just been hit by the Klingons. Yeah. They drag him into a tent. The kid has got the medical kit ready for the woman to do the fixing. Archer asks about the arrangement. How long have these bullies been pushing you around? He says about 5 seasons. They take the first yield. So what was that, 200,000 or something?
Yeah, fair bit, yeah.
Once they take their bit, they extract the remnants of whatever pocket they're...
Yeah, the last remaining remnants that are usually tainted.
Harder to refine.
Yeah.
But usually just make enough to get through the winter barely.
Yeah, which is pretty shit.
There's usually 7 of the Klingons that come down, so they do outnumber the Klingons, but they don't really know how to fight. The weapons are pretty shit, and the last time they did stand up to them 3 years ago, 5 people died fighting them, and when the fighting stopped, the Klingons killed 3 more people just to prove their point.
Yeah,
which sounds very Klingon.
It does. That is what a Klingon would do.
But also, if it's the same group, which it has to be, why wouldn't they just walk through that piddly little fire and gut everyone?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They would. They'd just go and they'd kill the kid and, gut a few people, like you said.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even hesitate. They'd just be like, woo!
Anyway, Archer says maybe there's something we can do to help, and the boss guy says, just take your 200 litres and go. If you're here when they come back, they'll kill you.
Yeah. Archer doesn't like that idea, though.
Archer, Reed and Paul are heading back to the shuttle through the settlement, and Trip notices the kid standing in the settlement just sort of staring at them. Trip says, I'll catch up with you in a second. Goes back to the kid and says, sorry, I never got to give you that tour. And he says that he saw a ship once with all these cannons and torpedoes and stuff. And Trip says, most big ships carry weapons. And he says, yeah, like Enterprise, right? Yeah, like Enterprise. Then you could have fought the Klingons, beaten them. Why didn't you try?
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. Burn.
Trip just says, it's not that simple. Then we get a shot of the Enterprise in orbit and we cut to the ready room. Archer is staring out the window,
contemplating the stupidest ideas he's ever had.
The doorbell rings and he says, come in. T'Pol enters and says that the 200 litres of deuterium has been stowed.
And they fly off, not bothering anyone else.
And everyone lived happily ever after. The end. She says, should I instruct Ensign Mayweather to break orbit?
Yeah.
As if.
It's Archer, for
starters. Do you know him?
Yeah, that's it. Like, you should have just already have been preparing. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I've got the weapons out of the armory, Captain.
That's right. We've prepped a couple of the shuttles, so we're ready to go.
Archer says, so that's it. We just take our deuterium and leave. He says how he kind of relates to them, like they provide for their families. Klingons come and steal from them, rob them blind. Does that seem right to you? Malcolm tells me that Klingon ship isn't much more than a freighter. I'd lay odds they're no match for Enterprise.
I doubt they are, like their ship-wise.
And T'Pol says, and if they withdraw, what's going to keep them from coming back again?
Exactly.
Then he suggests contacting the High Council and asking for a favour.
Yeah, that's how Klingons work. And they are sure.
Yeah. Archer says that he wants to help them. T'Pol says, I actually agree with you this time, but we're probably just going to make the situation worse. And Archer says that I just hate the idea of turning our backs. We cut to the settlement at night, and the boss guy is fixing up some thing.
Crawler.
There you go.
Yeah.
And Archer comes walking out of the darkness. Wait.
Yeah.
Was that Sidney Prescott's book in Scream?
Yeah, I think so.
Out of Darkness?
Yeah, Out of Darkness. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Archer comes over and asks if he needs a hand. He sort of talks him through doing some repairs while they have this conversation about Archer basically wanting to help him.
Yeah, I actually really liked this scene.
It was a good scene.
Yeah, like with the two characters and seeing not Archer, but seeing the
leader guy.
Yeah, the leader guy. He's a really good actor, obviously, and you could really see him struggle with that moment of having to look after his people.
Yeah.
And asking for help and the how scared he was. Like, it was a really good moment. And having that piece of machinery in between that he sort of could focus on without having to like really admit what he was feeling. It was really good. I really felt like that scene was well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. We won't talk much about that scene. Basically, he convinces him to let them help. And he uses he says, there's a saying on my world, give a man a fish and he eats for a day. Teach him to fish, he eats for a lifetime. That's where that scene kind of ends with that. And we fade to commercial and we cut back to inside a tent. They've collected the weapons from the settlement.
Yeah.
So Reed is down there and he says he was hoping for a bit more to work with.
Yeah.
And the nice guy says that they do a decent job of killing lizards. But
sure they do.
Reed says with a few modifications, these should be effective against more than just lizards. They suggest using some weapons from Enterprise. They say this isn't about firepower, this is about deception and surprise, and standing up to a bully is more important than the firepower that you've got behind you. So they talk about luring them into a trap. The boss guy is like, what kind of trap?
Yeah.
And Trip says, a very hot one. Basically, they're going to move the settlement 50 meters south so that the wellheads where the deuterium is coming up doesn't have the machinery on top of it, right? Yeah, so the idea is they move the settlement and then they lure the Klingons into that area where the wellheads are so that they can ignite a little fire, and if they don't cooperate, if the threat doesn't work, then they can explode the wellheads and basically blow up the entire settlement because everyone else would have been removed anyway.
Yeah, they can burn them to a crisp.
Yeah. Yep. So, a lot of work.
Yeah.
They're talking about a lot of work.
A lot.
They've got 3 days to get it done. So they say, what are we waiting for? Let's go. And then we have a bit of a montage. You're going to need a montage. There's a montage of crew and colonists packing up the settlement, moving stuff around, dismantling buildings, shutting down the wells, tractoring things away. Like it was quite an extensive scene of various
bits and pieces of moving the facilities.
Yep. And then we cut to the armory, and Reed and Hoshi are teaching people how to shoot with a little floating ball of target practice thing.
Stolen from Star Wars. It was. It was the target ball from Star Wars.
It wasn't not.
It's just they were using guns, as you would call them, instead of...
The guns that they had looked like the ones that they had in like First Contact, but they'd been stripped of all the paint and colour and stuff, and then made to look like a dull grey or something.
Yeah.
But they looked like Picard's guns.
Yeah, I agree. They did, and they just looked...
And they probably were.
Yeah, worn out and dirty.
Yeah. Anyway, Hoshi teaches them how to shoot. Yeah. Reed looks quite impressed.
Oh, yeah, he was very happy.
I bet he wanted to ask Hoshi out on a date after that.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, she really knows how to shoot.
Yeah.
She can blow things up. We cut to the settlement. Trip and Archer are putting some furniture back inside this big tent thing. Trip kind of says that he thinks this is going to be a long shot of a plan. Archer says, do you think it's a mistake? Trip says, no, I didn't say that. I never liked bullies, Trip. Not on Earth, not out here.
It was a pointless comment.
He's the sheriff, right?
Yeah, but it's pointless. Like,
I'm human sheriff of the galaxy. I'm here for your guns.
Jesus.
I'm Sheriff Archer, and I got the biggest gun.
Now, some booted up egg sucking gutter trash.
We cut back to Enterprise to Paul and Travis teaching a bunch of people how to fight. So Paul teaches them how to evade a batleth and
How to duck and roll.
basically.
instead
But she
of
had a
standing-
fancy name for it.
Yeah, but instead of standing there still while you're getting attacked by a weapon, duck and roll, funnily enough. I mean, who would have thought it?
We cut back to the settlement. Trip is he's repairing something or putting something together. I don't know. But the kid comes over and brings him some water. The kid says he wants to help and fight. And Tucker says, no.
You got to be bigger than the gun to actually use it.
Correct. You got to be taller than the gun.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hide.
Yeah. It's a silly scene when nothing else happens.
Nothing
later
really
on.
happens.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, I was
It
expecting...
doesn't lead to anything.
No, I
or-
was expecting the kid to come back and make an issue later
Yeah.
on, but it didn't happen.
No.
Like, that's what usually happens in these scenarios. The kid's like, I want to help. And then he gets caught by a Klingon later and there's a standoff. Like, I'm going to shoot this kid. And they're like, don't shoot the kid.
None of that happens.
Nothing happened. Kid just stayed out of the way. He's like the only kid that goes, oh yeah, I see your point.
Then we cut back to the armory. All the people that were training with the guns are suddenly professional marksmen. We cut back to the settlement and there's some welding going on. We get told that the wells are capped off and now they've concealed some of it under rock and rubble and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we cut to inside a tent. The main boss dude is cleaning a weapon. So hard at work while everyone else is still doing all that stuff. He's just sitting at a table polishing a weapon.
He wasn't even polishing when Archer walked in.
No,
he
he's
was
just
sitting there
sitting there.
staring at nothing.
And then Archer
Then
walks in and he's like, oh, shit, I should look busy.
Cleaning my garden, cleaning my garden.
Archer says we had a little trouble moving one of the pumps, but it's all set now, so we're all ready. Everything's in place.
Yeah.
The boss guy says, I just hope everyone survives. Your people as well as mine. Archer talks about how they got into a fight with the Suliban pretty much as soon as they left space dock.
3 days later.
And that even when you're nervous, you got to fight back.
Yeah.
You got to fight back for your people. You have to be a good leader, is basically what he's saying.
Yeah. And then instantly, his communicator goes off. Instantly.
There's one beat. He finishes his big speech, and then there's a slight pause, and then conveniently timed communicator buzz.
Yeah.
The Klingon ship has just dropped out of warp, Captain. And Archer looks at the boss guy who gives him like a little nod or something, and then he goes, acknowledged. And it fades to commercial. Just once. It'd be nice if the communicator started buzzing halfway through the speech.
Yeah, it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Like, I'm just going to ignore that till I finish what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I'm in the middle of something right now.
Because this connection that we have is more important. I need to finish what I'm saying before I get rudely interrupted.
Exactly.
But
That'd be
no.
good.
No, that never happens. Just big speech, very important. And now.
Yeah. Perfectly timed.
Now the Klingons arrive. Right on cue. Come back from commercial and we're in the settlement. It is completely deserted. The Klingons beam in. Korak kind of looks around and he says, listen. And one of the other Klingons says, what? And Korak says, the pumps, they're silent. And then he starts yelling out to people, where's your hospitality? This is no way to treat your friends. He shoots his gun up into the air and then he says, show yourself!
That actually sounded really good. It's really encouraging you to come out though when a Klingon's yelling, show yourself. After he shoots his gun. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm really going to be coming out of a door when that happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure, I'll be right there.
He says something in Klingon to the rest of his team and they head off to start searching through the modules and the buildings and stuff. We hear some bird calls from the whistles from the from the crew and the settlers. Yeah, it goes through a fair bit of different stuff, but
It does.
there's basically the Klingons are hunting, trying to find this group of people through the tents. There's a couple of interactions where they see people and they go after them and then they lose them. or
leading them around for some reason in different directions within the compound.
Yeah, they just kind of... Yeah, that's right. They lead them around a lot. They get into a bit of a fight with one person. They say... They go to shoot someone and they say, don't shoot over there. You're going to blow the whole place up.
Yeah.
Paul goes all fucking Sarah Connor in Terminator 2 and beats the shit out of one of the Klingons.
Yeah, I mean...
I was very impressed.
It was very good.
Yep. The Klingons stop and start to look around. They watch someone go off into the hills. And then Korak's got binoculars.
Yeah.
Is that standard equipment for a Klingon?
Apparently.
I don't think I've ever seen a Klingon with binoculars before.
No, I don't think I have either. It doesn't seem normal to have them in space.
Well, it just doesn't seem normal for them to be standard equipment for
you'd have
a Klingon.
You'd have a tricorder, right? Something that scans the area, not actually visually. Generally.
Generally, that's what you would have.
Yeah, I know Picard had binoculars in the future when they were looking for those data B4 parts, and they were in the sand dunes in one of the worst fucking movies ever. Nemesis, yeah, because didn't he have a...
I don't recall.
Anyway.
I'm sure. I know that there has been binoculars in a handful of different things. It just doesn't seem like something
a Klingon
who was just going down to terrorize some people for some deuterium. It just doesn't seem like something that he would bother to put around his neck as a pair of binoculars.
No,
he's not going bird watching. Like, what the fuck?
No, you wouldn't think so. No.
But anyway, he had them and he used them to find where they were going. And he says that they're all hiding up there like targs. So Archer and everyone is up in the hills and they're watching and they see the Klingons coming towards them, but they're not heading in the right direction. They need him to go to the specific spot for the trap to work. Yeah. So they start moving across to lead the Klingons across that way, and they do that a couple of different times where they stop and readjust until they get it.
Did you notice that all the Klingons threw their batleths and shit down at this point too?
But why?
I know, right? They all dropped their batleths and knives, and I was like, they're going up there to murder them all. Why are they dropping their weapons?
I don't know.
It's ridiculous. Because if you're going to use your guns, why aren't you shooting at them from where you are? Because that'd probably reach them. You're not that far away.
I don't know.
So why drop your hand weapons? Your Klingons, for fuck's sake.
I don't have an answer for you because it doesn't make sense.
No, it was dumb.
Yep.
Anyway.
So they lead the Klingons to the right spot. Korak starts to realize what's going on and notices the metal on the ground or something.
Yeah, just as he steps on
and then
something.
Starts to say something about it. This shouldn't be here. And then Archer says, now. And they set off the charges and then they're surrounded by fire.
Burning ring
and
of
then
fire.
The boss guy comes out and walks over towards the Klingons. The Klingons aim their disruptors at him. He says, I wouldn't do that. There's 2 more wellheads by your feet. Leave here now or we'll ignite them. And Korak says, Patak! You'll live to regret this. And he says, if you're thinking about coming back, I wouldn't advise it. We'll be ready. We're not afraid of you anymore. We're not afraid of you anymore.
That was it. You big
and
bully.
Korak says, we didn't want you to cheer him anyway. And beams away.
Not good enough for a garbage scout.
What? That's it? That's the whole thing?
I don't know why, like you said, they didn't run through the flames. Like, they're Klingons, for fuck's sake. So they could just walk through them without even giving a shit. Even if it singed their hair, they wouldn't care.
They wouldn't care.
Wouldn't give a fuck.
Nope.
But even if they weren't willing to do that, right? Even if, for whatever reason, they didn't want to get their hair burnt, right? Why didn't they just transport up and then transport back down?
I know.
Like, they can obviously transport through it. So transport up, transport down, kill everyone.
Yep. Anyway.
It's just shit.
Yep.
The payoff was crap.
Yep.
No, and not even the speech you gave, like, none of it. Like,
none of it was good enough.
It was like, what the fuck?
We see Trip walking back towards the shuttle. Clearly a bit of time has passed, and the kid is back at the controls in the chair. Trip says, unless you're planning to join Starfleet, I'm afraid you'll have to give that chair up. The kid says, I wish you didn't have to leave. I don't know why. You've had literally 2 interactions.
Yeah.
Don't know what the big deal is. Trip gives him a pad with the schematics for Enterprise on it, so that'll be real good if the Klingons come back. They'll have
proper blueprint of what Enterprise is.
Exactly.
And then we cut to outside the shuttle, and Archer and T'Pol are heading back, and the two dudes are there, and they've got a bunch of containers full of deuterium for them.
2,000 litres.
2,000. Archer says, our deal was for 200. You've provided more than what you needed to, so we wanted to give you more, and we have a surplus at the moment.
Yeah.
So they say thanks and goodbye, and they get into the shuttle and they fuck off.
Yep.
The end. Well, now we talk through it. What are your final thoughts?
It's pretty much the same. I really did sort of enjoy most of the episode. It was just the payoff at the end was really actually disappointing.
Yeah, I agree. It was a good episode up until that point.
That's right. And all the characters were really good. Like, I think everyone done a really good job in this episode with everything, really. And then it just was like, it felt a bit fairly weak. And like I said, like as we finished the episode and got up, I was a bit like, they wouldn't do it the same if they done it now. And I know they wouldn't do that for pretty much every episode, but like the payoff would have been much better if they had done it these days. Like those Klingons would have been
more badass.
Yeah, they would have been more badass, which means the trap would have had to have been a lot better than that.
Yeah.
So
the life lesson in this one, Tom.
I suppose you could take a couple of things away. Probably help those in need is a good one.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, it's probably the main one. I'd probably just stick with that then.
Well, help those in need and stand up for yourself.
Yeah, that's it.
Stand up to the bullies.
Yeah, like,
don't put up with bullies.
But yeah, don't put up with bullies. You are worth a lot more.
Defend yourself from a bully is different depending on your situation.
Exactly.
That does not always mean standing up and trying to fight back.
Yeah.
Sometimes it means you get help.
Yeah, exactly. Asking for help.
Yep.
Exactly. And also, if you're seeing people being bullied, standing back and doing nothing is also not right.
No. Get in there.
Yeah.
Help people.
Help people.
Yep. If you can.
If you can, that's right. Do the right thing.
Yep.
We are all here together.
Yep.
So I think that's a pretty good life lesson in this one.
I agree. All right. IMDb rating for this one. Our examples of 1 episodes are Voyager's Threshold and Next Gen's Code of Honor. Examples of 10 episodes are Next Gen's Tapestry and Deep Space Nine's Far Beyond the Stars. With those in mind, Tom, what should we rate this week's episode?
I think I gave 7 last week, right?
A Night in Sickbay was 7, correct?
7, yeah. So I would give this lower because of the lack of quality ending.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with probably, because I liked the rest of it, I'm going to give it about a 6, maybe a 5 or 6. Because it was a good episode. It was really just that wrap up, and short and disappointing.
Well, I would have gone with a 7, to be honest with you, because I think this was just as good as Night in Sickbay.
Yeah?
Definitely. I enjoyed this one more than Night in Sickbay.
Did you?
Yep. I think that his payoff was weaker, but Night in Sickbay was kind of moderate the whole episode, whereas this was really good the whole episode. It just didn't quite finish right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have put it on par with Night in Sickbay. I would have given it a 7.
Yeah, I guess I know what you're saying, actually. Well, I'm happy to come up to a 7 because it was a really good episode.
All right. We'll go with a 7 then. We'll lock in a 7.
All right.
Done.
Cool.
Excellent. All right. That's it for this week. If you want to share your thoughts on Star Trek or this episode or anything in general, please reach out. You can find us on Facebook at Temporal Directive Podcast and Instagram, just Temporal Directive, or you can email us at wakefield_productions@outlook.com. We'll be back next week with the episode The 7th. Live long and prosper.
Peace and long life.